Welcome, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And today's Hebrew class will be on Yehuchanan, John 12, verses 1 to 4. So let us now begin. And as usual, I put up in the Nikud the vowel markings to help us in our pronunciation of the words, and also useful resources. So let us now begin. And of course, we're in verse 1, which is represented with an aleph, and we go through the letters. It's a vav, a shin, a tav, a yod, a mem sofit, lamed, fe, because there's no dot, nun, yod, chet, gimel, hey, pei, because of the dot, samech, chet, bet, aleph. It's in white because it's not pronounced. Yod, hey, vav, but it's a new sound. Shin, ayin, lamed, veit, no dot, yod, tav, hey, yod, nun, hey. Sorry, yod. And let us read it now. And it is va sheshet yamim. Sheshet means 6 and 6. Yamim means days. Lifnei meaning before. It literally means to the face, before. Chag meaning the feast. Ha Pesach meaning the Passover. Ba came. Yahushua. Levet to the house. Ve'et is the house, right? Hini. So normally that is translated as Bethany. It combines the two, but it literally means to the house of Hini. So in English, it's 6 days before the feast of Passover, Yeshua came to Bethany. So now let us just quickly read that without any provision of the reading underneath, a transliteration, and we say, V'sheshet yamim lifnei chag ha-pesach ba Yahushua levet hini. Right, now let's move to part B, and we have a mem, a kuf, a vav, but of course it's an O sound, mem sofit, an aleph, lamed, ayin, Zion, Resh, Aleph, Shin, Resh, Hey, Ayin, Yod, Resh, Mem, Ayin, Mem Safit, Hey, Mem, Tav, Yod, Mem Safit. Now let's read it. Mekom, meaning the place. Elazar, which is mostly translated as Lazarus. But that's his name in Hebrew. Ashir, that. He-ear, he woke up. So let's have a look. What is ear? Ear can be the noun for a city or town, but he-ear as a verb means to wake someone up, to stir up. And then we have me'im. Me normally means from, and im can mean with. That's why I translated from with instead of just from. From with, ha-metim, meaning the dead in the plural sense of it. Yeshua came to Bethany, the place of Lazarus, whom he had awakened from the dead. Down here again, I give you im, which was with or together, and met, which means dead, lifeless, corpse. Right, now let's read that without any help. And we have Mekom, El-Azar, Asher, He-ir, Me'im, Ha-metim. Right, moving on. 2, and 2 is represented with a veit, which is the second letter of the alphabet. And we have a vav, yod, ayin, sin because the dot's on that side. Vav, it's a new sound because of that dot. Lamed, vav, it's a no sound because of that dot. Shin, Mem Sofit, Mem, Shin, Tav, Hey, Bayet, Ayin, Resh, Vayet, Vav, Mem, Resh, Tav, Aleph, Mem, Shin, Resh, Tav, Tav. Now let's read it. Vaya'asu, lo. Vaya'asu, and they made for him. Now made comes from these two letters, which comes from the word asa, which we've got down here. Asa is a kal verb to make, to do, to create. The prefix determines the tense, therefore it becomes made, because we have the yod, which is future, and the vav, which reverses the tense to being completed action. So it's, and they made, so it's something that's happened for him. Sham, meaning there. Mish, te, a feast. Interesting. Shatei is a kal verb to drink. So a feast is a place of drink, which is interesting. Drink, it's a drinking feast, basically. And then we, ba, a, rev, in a rev, in the evening, right? Ba is in, a rev. If we look down here, erev is the masculine noun for evening or nightfall, and erev is a PL verb to intermingle, meaning the mixture of light and darkness. And then we have Marta, and Marta, me sharetet, was serving. So what's the word for serving? And here we see sharet is a PL verb to serve or to assist. And in English is they made a feast for him there in the evening, and Martha was serving. Right, now let's read that. Va ya a su lo sham mish te ba arev u marta me sharetet. And moving to part B, we have a vav, an aleph, lamed, an ayin, a zayin, resh, aleph, chet, dalet, mem, nun sofit, nun at the end of a word, hey, mem, samek, bayet, yod, mem sofit, mem at the end of the word, aleph, tav, vav. But of course it's a no sound, right? And we get the Elazar, and Elazar, echad, meaning was one, min, from, hamsubim, hamsubim. So what does that mean? Mesubim is a noun, and it means diners or participants in a meal. And just out of interest, hesev, which is also like the root word of it, it's a verb to sit around a table for a meal. So therefore the diners is the best translation. He was one of the diners, from the diners. Ito, now it meaning with, and o is him, with him. Martha was serving, and Lazarus was one of those reclining with him. So the reclining is not necessarily what it says in the Hebrew there, but when there was diners, they would be reclining. So it's from understanding the context that they translated that way. So now let's read that. The Elazar echad min ham subim ito. And now we're in 3, which is represented with a gimel, the third letter of the alphabet. And then we have vav, tav, kuf, chet, mem, resh, yod, mem, safit, mem, resh, kuf, chet, tav, nun, resh, dalet, zayin, kaf, safit, vav, yod, kuf, resh, mem, aleph, dalet, Lamed, Tet, Resh, Aleph, Chet, and Tav. Let's read it. Va, Ti, Kach. Now we know that lekach means to take, so kach has got to do with taking. The Tav tells us it's a feminine, and the Vav at the beginning tells us it's a reverse of 10. So, and she took, like a completed action. And she took. And now it's telling us who? Miriam. Mir kachat. Mir kachat. A concoction. Right, and we'll see that later, that what it means, a mixture. A concoction. Nerede of spikenard. And then we got nerede, a masculine noun, for nard, spikenard, a costly, fragrant oil. And then we've got zak, pure. Let's have a look. Zak is pure, refined, clean, transparent. And then we have yakar, yakar, and expensive. Yakar is an adjective meaning expensive, beloved, or precious. And then we got me'od, which is like another adjective on top of the expensive, meaning very. And litra. Litra is a measurement, right? A litra. And it happens to be 340 grams, because I looked it up. Echat, meaning one. So 1 litra, which is 340 grams. And the English says, Miriam took pure, very expensive nard perfume, or a concoction, 1 litra. So let us now read that. Va-ti-kach Miriam, mir-kachat, nerde, zak, ve-yakar, me'od, litra, echat. Right. Part B now, we have a mem, shin, kuf, lamed, hey, vav, tav, samek, kaf, so fit, aleph, tav, resh, gimel, lamed, yod, hey, vav, but a new sound, shin, ayin, vav, tav, nun, gimel, vayet, hey, aleph, tav, resh, gimel, lamed, yod, vav. Now let's read it. Mishkala, it's weight. And we can see there, down here we've got mishkal is a weight or value. And we see there's a root word in it, shekel, right? Shekel, which is a masculine noun for Israel currency or an old weight measure. So the shekel is literally a weight measure, right? Its weight, vatasak. And she rubbed with oil. So it's got a tav there telling us feminine. So if we look down here, sak is a kol verb to anoint, to rub with oil. And she rubbed with oil. Et, grammar marker, rug lay, meaning the feet. It's plural. Yahushua, of Yahusha or Yahushua. Va-te-ni-geva. Va-te-ni-geva. And she wiped. If we look down here, nigev is a verb to wipe dry. And of course, the hey at the end and the tav tells you it's feminine. That's her. She wiped. So you could say it's and she wiped it or them. Et, grammar marker, ruglev, which is his feet, the vav meaning his. So 1 litra in weight, she applied it to the feet of Yeshua and wiped his feet dry. Right, now let's see if we can read that. And it is Mishkala Vatasak et Ragle Yahushua Vatenigeva et Raglev. And then we have a Bayet. This time it's a Sin, Ayin, Resh, Vav, Tav, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Bayet, Yod, Tav, Yod, Mem, Lamed, Aleph, Resh, Yod, Chet, Hey, Mem, Resh, Kuf, Chet, Tav. Now let's read it. Be, Sa'arote, Ha. Be can be in, but it can be with as well. With, and the hey at the end is her. So we have the word in between. Sarote. So let's have a look. Sa'ar is a masculine noun for hair. Right? We can see that there. Sa'ar, those three letters. And we have ot, it's a feminine plurality, right? And therefore we know it means with her hair. And then we have the habayit. And habayit, the house. Yi malay. Now we know malay means to fill up. So it was filled. Re'ach, because with the ched, it's the only letter where the vowel comes in front of it. So it's re'ach, with the fragrance. I added with, but it literally means the fragrance was filled with the fragrance in context. And then we have hamir kachat, and they translated the perfume of the perfume. Now, if we look down here, mir kachat is a feminine noun which literally means a concoction, a mixture, an ointment. But in context, because it's talking about the fragrance of the ointment or the mixture, they often translate it as perfume because it's got a nice fragrance. So, from the previous, wiped his feet dry with her hair. The house was then filled with the scent of the perfume, or the ointment, you could say, or mixture. And let us read that. The sa'arote ha, the ha bayit, yi malay, reach, ha mir kachat. And then we turn to verse 4, which is represented with the dalet, the fourth letter of the alphabet. And we have Vav Yod Aleph Mem Resh Aleph Chet Dalet Mem Tav Lamed Mem Yod Dalet Yod Vav Hey Vav Aleph Yod Hey Vav Dalet Hey Bayet Nun Safit Shin Mem Ayin Vav Nun Safit Aleph Yod and Shin. Now let's read it. Vayomer. And where there's no pronoun, it's and. He said, Echad, one, mi tal mi Dave. From his, that's a vav, Talmid, which is disciples. Who, which is he, or he was. Yehuda. Ben, meaning son. Shimon, son of Shimon. Ish, meaning a man. So one of his disciples, Judas, the son of Shimon, a man. And now let's read that. Vayomer, Echad, mi talmidav. Who? Yehuda, ben Shimon, Ish. And part B, we have a Kuf, Resh, Yod, Vav, Tav, Aleph, Shin, Resh, Yod, Mem, Samek, Resh, Aleph, Tav, and Vav. Now we read it. Keriot. Now, remember, his name is not Yehuda Ishkariot. Ish means a man of Keriot, which literally means, if we look down there, that Keriyah means district or suburb. So literally, it's a man of the suburbs, a man of the outlying areas, you could say. Asher, who Yimsor would hand over. So, Masar is a kol verb to deliver or to hand over. Would meaning it hasn't happened yet, so it's a future event. Would hand over. Oto meaning him. So Ish is man of Keriot who would betray him, is normally how it's translated, right? So now quickly read that. Keriot asher yimsor oto. And we have now come to the revision. So we've already finished those first 4 verses, and hopefully they are easy enough to follow, and hopefully some of that you remember if you've been doing other lessons. So let us begin. First, we know that Lef is verse 1, the Sheshet and 6 Yamim, which is days, Lifnei, before, Chag, meaning the feast, Ha-Pesach, of the Pesach, of the Passover. But came Yehoshua Levet, to the house of Hini, to Bethany. Translation, and 6 days before the feast of the Passover came Yehoshua to the house of Hini. Mekom, which is the place, Elazar, of Elazar, Asher who He'ir, he awoke. Me'im, meaning from being with, or from with, Ha-metim, the dead, in the plural sense. The place of Elazar that he woke up from with the dead. And then we have Abed, which is verse 2. Vaya'asu, and they made lo for him, sham there, mishte, a feast, a celebration, ba'arev, in the evening, Marta, and Martha, mesharetet, was serving. And they made for him there a feast in the evening, and Martha was serving. The Elazar, and Elazar, Echad, was one, min from Ham Subim, the diners, Ito, with him. And Elazar was one from the diners with him. And then we have a Gimel, the 3rd letter of the alphabet, bet, meaning 3. Va tikach, and she took Miriam, mir kachat, a concoction, nerdei, which is of spikenard, and then we have zak, meaning pure, vayakar, and expensive. Me'od, which means very. So literally you can break it down and say from more, which is very. Litra, which was a measurement which we discovered was 340 grams. And then we have achat, which was 1 litra. Right. And she took Miriam a concoction of spikenard, pure and expensive, very, a litra, 240 grams, 1. And then we have Mishkala. Mishkala, it's weight. Because we have shekel in the middle there, which is a weight. V'tesak. V'tesak. And she rubbed with oil. Et ragle, meaning the feet. Yahushua, of Yahushua. V'tenigeva. And she wiped. Et, grammar marker, raglev, which meaning his feet, and rubbed his feet. Its weight, and she rubbed with oil the feet, grammar marker, the feet of Yahushua, and she wiped his feet. With the grammar marker there. And then we have Besararoteha, and it is with her hair. And of course, its hair is plural there. And then we have the ha-bayat, and the house. Yimaleh was filled. Reach, with the fragrance. Ha-mir kachat, translated often as with the perfume or the mixture or the concoction. The fragrance of the concoction or the perfume. With her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. Then we have Dalet, fourth letter of the alphabet. Vayomer, and he said, because there's no pronoun, it must be he. Echad, one, that means one of the ones. Mi talmidayev, from his, the Vav, disciples, who he was, Yehuda, or Judas, Ben, son of Shimon, Ish, a man. And he said, from his disciples, he was Yehuda, son of Shimon, a man, Keriot, meaning the districts, the suburbs, the villages, Asher that Yimsor would hand over, Otto, him, of the districts, who would hand over him. And that brings us to the end, and we just like to give you the chart again of the Nikud just for our practice. So let's choose the bottom line, remembering that the Vav therefore changes its sound to an U because of the dot next to it. And where we see 3 diagonal dots, it also has an U sound. So this one's called a shuruk. So the first vowel sound is the sound of that dot. Shu. And this is ku, same sound, right? And this is called a kataf segol. So the sound of it comes from this one, se. So it's the 3 dots is a segol. And this is a single dot underneath the letter, and it's called a chirik. And this is kataf patach, so it's a short A sound, and this is kataf kamatz, so it's a longer A sound. Okay, and then we come to right at the end, and we've got the resources again for practice. And we remembered we're only dealing with verse 1, Aleph, Vayet 2, Gimel 3, Dalet 4. Let us not forget the ones at the end here, which we won't see much of, but we know that a Kuf is a value of 100. A Resh is a value of 200, a Shin is a value of 300, and a Tav is a value of 400. And as we come to the end of our lesson again, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we do pray that these are beneficial lessons, not only that they give us Hebrew, but they're also telling us the story of Yahusha or Yahushua or Yeshua, however you want to call him. And we thank you for joining us, and we wish you a Shavua Tov, a good week unto you all.